All right, folks, Mark here. Y'all know how I do. My motto, my mantra, cook books and bring info. So, really quick, just want to have a conversation about thoughts. I put up a video about thoughts. What are they, so on and so forth. But the question is, are thoughts real, right? And depending on I used to be on one end of the spectrum. Now I'm on the other end. I'm gonna go lie to you. I used to be on the spectrum that thoughts aren't real, and now I'm on the other end that thoughts are real. But let me tell you how I arrived at the other end of the spectrum or the other side of the aisle uh, for pro that so in support that they are real. How did they win? How did this side win my vote? Here's how. I had to stop and take a look at the word real. How do you define the word real? Thoughts real. All right, let's look at the word real and define the word real. Then you'll see why I arrived on the other side of the spectrum. Now, the word real, we're saying our thoughts are real uh, within the context or within the reference of our three-dimensional existence. Then the criteria for realness in our three-dimensional plane, thoughts aren't real. Why? Because thoughts does not meet the standard criteria of what makes something real in this plane of existence in which we all reside. And what I mean by that is this: within our plane of existence, right? What constitutes realness is solidity, right? It has to be length, width, depth. You know, depth, depth and length is pretty much the same thing. So there has to be depth, width, and height, right? We live in a sphere where we are in a three-dimensional state of existence, and therefore, what is real would have to have has to be congeal, right? There has to be a congeal. There have to be a coagulation process, meaning there has to be solidity, right? Matter has to be involved because we live the state in which we live in. Everything is based off matter, and so if we're using that criteria as a benchmark or a yardstick to measure and define what is real and what is not, then thoughts aren't real because thoughts do not meet the standards of this dimension in which we exist. So, in that sense, thoughts aren't real. But being the heuristic mind that I am, very curious, very, I like to research everything. Uh, I said to myself, let me look into something else, right? So I started researching the other dimensions, the fourth space-time continuum, fifth, sixth, seventh, up to seven. Depending again what source you're gathering and collecting your data from, you can go up to 30, 31. But the data I've researched stops at seven. So, be that as that may be, the point is this: the word real takes on a total different uh, meaning and definition when we apply the word real to the standards of the etheric, for instance, which is the ether or the ethereal plane, right? The word realness has a different definition in the etheric realms. The word real has a different definition in the casual plane, right? In the celestial plane, the word real has a total different meaning. The word real has a different connotation and implication and association when it's being applied to the spiritual realm or to the casual realm or to the mental realm. These are various realms, right? So as you go up the various realms or various dimensions, you realize that the word real has a total uh, different. It takes on a total different meaning, a different connotation, and now you have to ask yourself, okay, am I going to judge whether thoughts are real based off our three-dimensional plane of existence, or do I judge it based off the existence in the other dimensions? And these dimensions are states of consciousness. First of all, folks, these are states of consciousness. The higher up you go, the less dense. There's less density. So the earth plane being the most dense, right? The physical matter, physical plane, the most dense. But as you elevate or align your mental states in terms of definitions, higher planes, higher frequencies, higher state of consciousness. You realize that applying the word real in these different levels or planes, that the word real has a different definition, but like the criteria for real in those planes are different for the criteria in our physical plane, because the criteria there doesn't involve any matter. Matter, it doesn't exist in the astral plane. The way we interpret matter here in this realm, matter does not exist in that realm in the same way that we interpret it here. So in that state of consciousness, in that dimension, real thoughts are very much real, folks. Thoughts are very much real, uh, based on the context, right? The context in which you're going to extrapolate the definition of real. If you're extrapolating it from our realm, then yes, thoughts aren't real. But if you're extrapolating, meaning pulling from the astral planes, right? The celestial planes, the mental plane, the causal plane, the spiritual plane. If you're pulling from those higher planes, thoughts are very much real, because thoughts are in line with what the criteria of what determines what is real in that realm, in those realms. So that's why so now looking at it from this different perspective, or this different lens, I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I believe thoughts are real, but here's what here's my takeaway, my conclusion, and I kind of got the answer studying genetics, right? Because in genetics, right, your genes, your DNA comes in pairs of three called codons. Those three codons are responsible for just information, pretty much. But the information cannot be converted to a physical protein unless it goes through what's called the ribosomal process. Ribosomal process is a tRNA, works with the ribosome, and it translates the information, the raw data. It's converted into what's called polypeptides, which is just nothing but protein, amino acids, and stuff like that. So but I got the answer from that. Studying that made me realize, okay, voila, eureka moment, right? Because then I said to myself, oh, so this is how thoughts work. The codons, which is DNA, they need to express themselves, right? Genes need to express themselves, but they cannot express themselves unless they have a host, a vehicle, a medium. In this case, it's called the ribosome, which is the ribosomal process, which is the ribosome, which is an area within an organelle within the cell. It's a subdivision within the cell that works with something called a tRNA. And together, they work together to convert raw data, raw information into physical matter, which is proteins and amino acids, which are called polypeptides. So I said, okay, so that's how thoughts work. In the same way, thoughts are data, information that cannot manifest on a physical plane where we are unless it has a host, you and I, unless it has a vehicle, a medium, you and I. So in this regards, thoughts are very much real in their dimension, in their realm, and they cannot express themselves like genes. They're seeking to express themselves like a gene does. It seeks to express itself through a medium, a vehicle, a physical body, an entity, whatever you want to call it, you and I. So thoughts are real in that regards. They're not real until they have manifested through you and I, because we're their vehicles. Should we subject ourselves to them or not be aware that they're actually working in us and through us? And this is where consciousness and levels of consciousness, levels of awareness come into play. And again, next time you see somebody committing a crime, somebody, killing somebody, somebody raping somebody, that's a thought. That's a thought that found a vehicle, the person. That's a thought, right? It's coming from the other dimension. It's an evil thought. There's, like I said, there's several layers of them. There's several layers up, several layers down. It's 14 levels, 14 planes of dimensions, 14 planes of existence, or whatever the case may be. And thoughts from lower planes or lower vibrations, negative, dark energy. And then you have the higher planes. So, but the point I'm making is that thoughts are very real, folks. So the next time you're having these thoughts, or you ask yourself, where's this thought coming from? And is this me thinking this thought? Is this my thought? More often than not, most people live in a subconscious state. So 90% of your thoughts are not yours, right? Probably even more than that. Because why? Uh, our brain are like receivers, and we're constantly being fed signals from transmitters. Like think of a radio station transmitting or broadcasting its signals to radios. Your brain is just works the same way, and we're constantly being there's frequencies constantly being transmitted to us at all times at any given moment throughout the day. And if this is something that you're not aware of, then most of the information, the signals that you're picking up, they're not your thoughts. They're not you at all. You think they are you. You identify with them because again, we have been fashioned and formulated in a three-dimensional existence where everything has been limited to this physical plane. But once you start to come into this awareness and consciousness, then you start to learn about that we aren't the only ones in existence. Yes, there are aliens. I believe 100% there are aliens, but not like the aliens you see on TV. The word alien just means foreign, strange, a foreigner. Uh, that's all it means. A foreigner, something strange, something from another. An alien could they call people aliens, illegal aliens. An alien could just be a person from another country, and that's called an alien. So, do I believe in aliens? Absolutely, but not in the context of what you see on TV with the three heads or whatever. That's sci-fi. But I do believe that there are other existence forms of life, if you will. And when I say forms of life, I don't mean in biological sense, but in a sense that there's consciousness, there's existence, there's entities, right? Has in its own independence being. But that's another topic, another discussion. I digressed a little bit. All right, so till next time, peace.